my dear friends, Namaste, and today we continue with some wisdom sharing, and I felt to share with you an interesting topic. It's how mushrooms transform your consciousness, my consciousness, and anybody who use them. Well, how does it work, and how come plants and mushrooms have an impact on our consciousness? Well, first of all, here I want to underline that me and you, we're playing an unbelievable game. In our modern times, we can understand life as a game, as thanks that the game concept has developed in the last 100 years profoundly. And we have now digital games which help us to understand what is a game, that it's a special reality created world in which there are specific rules that everybody follows who enters that game. And inside of every game, there are their own purposes, goals, aims, and eventually, if we look in our lives, then we can say that the old descriptions when our ancestors were telling that this is a dream, this is an illusion, this is all energy, that actually they were meaning exactly that this is a game, but a game of a more higher, more complex level of perfection. As all of the computer games that we do, they were made from the most perfect game. What is the most perfect game that you know? Exactly, life. Life is the most perfect game, and everything, whatever we create, is actually from the inspiration from that what we received from this game, life. So eventually, our avatars, like in a computer game, our avatars have an opportunity to experience this physical realm, where at the same time, we ourselves, we're not physical beings. We're are interdimensional beings which are having a physical experience in this lifetime. So our souls are not limited only to this lifetime. As if you studied your soul or you have studied this topic, then you know that every soul can gather a lot of reincarnations and can play many characters before it came to this specific one, the one currently you see on your screen, or the one that you're playing right now in your reality. That our avatars is a reflection that can be changed. In other words, our soul can create avatars and come back to this physical realm and game to get that experience which truly matters. So as a result, how does it work? That our soul gets this physical avatar, and thanks that our soul is being synchronized with our brain, through the brain we can be synchronized with our body, and thanks to this physical body, I can feel, I can smell, I can hear, I can do many things connected with this physical realm and get from it the information that is valuable for me. But all of this happens that we have this perfect and beautiful avatar. Why is it perfect? Why is it beautiful? And what is the difference of the avatar and the soul? So as it's connected and we're playing in a physical realm, we need to have a very good machine that would be adapted into interconnection with this reality. So if we came here for important experience, then this machine should work perfectly and assist us to focus on the important thing. What is the most important thing in this life? The experience. The experience is the only thing that we can carry out. So to focus on the experience which matters, we have developed such a tool which is perfect. What does it mean? That many things happening inside of our avatars and bodies are automatic. What does it mean? We're not thinking when to breathe. We're not thinking how to pump the blood. We're not thinking and giving command, I need to move 30 muscles on this side, so I would raise my hand and bend it. All of these things which I showed you happen inside of our structure automatically, as the main processor of this is our brain. Our brain, the physical one, helps us to take care of our physical bodies. As a result, our soul is like an observer in a theater, or like a person sitting at the computer game, enjoying the view all around and trying to understand what is happening. So we can focus on the storyline rather than to focus on the details, how it works. And so, well, why I'm sharing you this fundament of understanding? Because to understand how mushrooms transform our consciousness, you now understand that our consciousness it is interconnected with this physical realm through this physical body. Our body works on biochemistry, so it has biological processes which create chemical reactions, thanks to which we can move. We have energy. We can think. We can smell. We can do whatever we want. In this limited optional, or let's say, in this rules of this game. And that eventually the most fundamental important thing in our body, it's our soul. Because for the soul and for our consciousness, this body was made. So what happens when we start to eat mushrooms? Why does it change our consciousness? How come it expands? Well, our body is like a biochemistry laboratory. This is the main place for which everything works. All of your body just works for this. So your brain would have enough of blood, energy, and support, because the most magic happens here. This is the place where we have the neurons. This is the place where we have the perception of reality. This is the place where actually our neurons understand, oh, this is green, this is red. Right now it's cold or hot, or this reality looks like this, or it looks differently. So depending on what we put inside of our body, our stomach is like a biochemistry laboratory which takes different parts out and brings them up to the brain. In the brain, when these compounds connect, our consciousness, our soul, which is located in the spine line, the spine line and our mind, it expands. Through the expansion means that we're getting a boost of energy and we start to use our brain a lot more effective. So, there's, for example, this story, you had it most probably yourself. If you're driving a bike or something, and then you're about to have an accident or a car accident, then the time slows down. This slowing down time, many people say, the time has slowed down. No, it didn't. It's your perception of time has changed. Your mind understood that right now is such a critical situation that we should activate the normal speed of our brain from 10-15% in sleeping mode, that is like we live every day, up to, let's say, 60, 70, 80, or 90% of the capacities that we have. So our brain starts to function stronger, and through the speed of analysis, the time slows down. And within a couple of seconds, people can feel that they were there for a couple of minutes. Why? Did anything around change? No, but the perception inside of the head of the person changed. Why? Biochemistry. So this biochemistry, it also works with medicine plants. Medicine plants and mushrooms, they carry inside of them specific biochemistry, which gives energy exactly to our brain and to our spine line, that it would be activated. When it's being activated, your perception of reality expands. And the most interesting thing, why especially with mushrooms, the explanation works so magically, as I don't know have you studied or not, but the most ancient living beings on our planet, it's not plants, it's not humans or animals, it's mushroom kingdom. The mushroom kingdom was here before everything, and thanks to the mushrooms, eventually has developed the soil, have developed eventually the plants, the living form has came to be here, and we came here. And now, if we look anywhere around, everywhere there are mushroom spores. They're under the ground, they're in the air, they're in all of the trees, they're in all of the plants, they're inside of all of the animals, they're even inside of us and our babies. Once we're being born, we already have spores of mushroom inside of us. So imagine that they're everywhere. Their code, it's everything. And they're like a database which gathers information from our world and keeps it, and helps to keep the balance between life and death. As eventually whatever dies, it helps to transform it into a form that other living forms can consume it. For example, with trees, yeah? If you take a tree, very few animals or insects that can eat a healthy tree. Once the tree falls down, the mushroom starts to eat it from the inside. It makes it softer, and boom, and you get everybody, the insects and even animals, and everybody start to enjoy the trees in their own unique way, getting from their energy. So what happens when we're taking mushrooms? Why our consciousness expands? That once we connect with the mushrooms and it connects with the main antenna in our head, with our spine line, then momently what we have consumed, it connects us with everything around. So everywhere where there are mushrooms, we actually start to see and feel those things. And as they're everywhere, people are surprised that they're getting interconnected connection with the reality around on a more higher level. So, and this experience is beautiful, but you have to know that there's too much information in reality, and you should focus on the things that truly matter. So every time when you're using mushrooms, know what you want to research. Don't simply, you can go on, let's say, YouTube or Instagram and trying to find some kind of information. But if you're not searching for any information, you might end up in doom scrolling reels. So the reels, this could be the doom scrolling, what happens to many people who go to use magical mushrooms without any request or any specific focus on transformation, goal, and aim. So that's why super valuable to focus on working with mushroom consciously, to expand the consciousness, to connect with reality, to see how it's all interconnected, to understand what I need to change inside of myself, make those transformations, transforming it on a mental level, emotional level, and the physical level. And then knowing that taking care of your physical, emotional, mental bodies increases the level of your energy. The more higher the energy, the more higher the consciousness rises in its normal state. And through this, you become more present. You understand what happens in your life. You stop being a victim and you start to become a creator. You start to take back the strength of your creation from the surrounding illusion and the believing mindset what majority of people have, and you start to create that reality which you truly want. Of course, there will be many adventures along the way and lessons, but once you have increased your level state of consciousness, and at least one time in your life have seen that the world is much more bigger and brighter than, let's say, more than people believe it to be, then there's no way back. So that's why kind of mushrooms is a one-way ticket for the ones who are brave for the discovery of yourself and life. Life and the true reality, it's much more brighter, it's much more bigger, it's much more complex, it's like much more beautiful. Um, and I'm still studying it, and I can tell you that this is one of the most unbelievable things what you can do, is truly try to see and discover who you truly are and how this reality truly works. So, I hope on this positive and good note, you'll remember, use mushrooms for your self-development, but you're the key. Use them in a very respectful, deep way. Remember that mushrooms transform your consciousness, but your consciousness is the fundament. The mushrooms can only open that which you already have inside of yourself. So make the transformation once you have the energy and the capacity of changing it. Know that your consciousness is much more important than the mushrooms or any tools that you use, and focus in using your consciousness as your number one tool. And this will give you a very unbelievable freedom of creation. And knowing that you don't need no one or anything to feel yourself happy, good, and to know how to work through your consciousness, your own problem and things. As eventually you learn to work with your consciousness, you won't have to physically go out and sort out things, because it will be possible to do everything, all of that in meditation. As if the consciousness is inside of me and the consciousness is outside of me, then why to move? I can sort out things all by myself inside of my own head. But this is, again, a separate topic. But I hope that you got some interesting insights, and you now better understand how come the mushrooms change our consciousness and how it's better to use. So use your power, use your avatar, use your soul, go beyond the mind and discover that what truly matters for you. Focus on yourself and compare yourself only with yourself. That's it. Okay? Much love and blessings. And see you next time.